university was bathed in a soft glow of an approaching twilight, marking the end of another ordinary day of classes. I shuffled towards my last class, a history lecture led by a professor whose monotonous voice had long lost its charm. My lack of enthusiasm for the class peaked that day, and I decided to skip it, seeking refuge from the mundane in the most unexpected places. As I stealthily approached a restroom at the far end of the campus, my thoughts were consumed by the anticipation of a stolen moment of solitude. Little did I know that this seemingly innocent act of truancy would lead me down a terrifying path that would change my life forever. The restroom was tucked away in an isolated corner of the university, rarely frequented by students or staff. I believed my absence from class would go unnoticed in this hidden alcove. However, the events that unfolded that day would prove me wrong in the most horrifying way. With my heart pounding and anxiety growing, I huddled inside the farthest stall, diverting my attention to a mind-numbing mobile game. The quiet ambiance of the restroom was shattered by a sudden blare of the university's intercom system. A chilling announcement echoed through the walls, sending shockwaves of fear through my body. It was a lockdown alert, but this was no ordinary drill. It was an emergency lockdown. I could feel it in the air, thick with tension and dread. As I sat frozen in the dimly lit stall, the building's lights flickered and died, plunging the restroom into pitch darkness. The hum of the ventilation system faded away, replaced by an eerie silence that clung to me like a sinister shroud. Panic welled inside me as I realized that a total power outage during a lockdown was far from ordinary. I reached for my phone, its dim screen illuminating my trembling hands. My thoughts raced and I fumbled to send a message to a friend, desperately seeking information about the unfolding crisis. The response I received was chilling. Armed with a knife, a fellow student had initiated a reign of terror at the university, pounding on classroom doors and demanding entry. The gravity of this situation settled over me, and I stilled my phone, straining to hear any signs of danger. The eerie silence was abruptly shattered by footsteps drawing closer to the restroom. Fear gripped my heart as the intruder entered the stall beside mine, and my voice trembled as I questioned the stranger's presence. His response was fraught with uncertainty, explaining that he too was seeking refuge from the unfolding nightmare. We both remained concealed in our stalls for an eternity, shrouded in oppressive silence. The world beyond the restroom door remained dark, intensifying our shared fear. Eventually, another announcement broke the stillness, urging all students to evacuate through the front doors, where the police were waiting. Trembling, I ventured outside, but to my surprise, the occupant of the neighboring stall chose to remain behind, asking for just a few more moments. As I made my way toward the exit, relief washed over me, mingling with the persistent fear that gripped my soul. Outside, the presence of law enforcement was palpable, and my anxious report about the restroom's occupant raised alarms. The police swiftly investigated the restroom, discovering it eerily empty except a shattered window, a chilling testament to the escape of the armed intruder. It was a horrifying revelation that the attacker had been hiding mere feet away from me, concealed by the confines of the restroom stall. After this traumatic experience, my life took an unforeseen turn. The attention I received from my fellow students in the following days was overwhelming, as news of my unwitting proximity to danger circulated throughout the campus. The armed intruders remained at large, leaving an undeniable mark of fear and vulnerability. The memory of that day served as a stark reminder that terror could lurk much closer than we'd ever imagine, forever altering how I view the world around me. Not too long ago, I embarked on my journey as a university teacher, embracing the challenges and uncertainties of this new chapter. My destination was a public university in a nearby urban neighborhood, and my teaching debut unfolded in the crisp September air. As a novice educator, the responsibility weighed heavily on my shoulders, especially when faced with my class of eager first-year students. One seemingly ordinary day, I stood before my classroom, engrossed in assigning a routine writing assignment to my budding scholars. The hum of youthful chatter and the scent of ambition filled the room. Little did I know that this day would thrust me into an unimaginable nightmare. Suddenly, the university's public announcement system crackled to life, its speakers unleashing a chilling message that sent shivers down my spine. Lockdown, lockdown. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Panic swept over me as I fumbled for my phone, trying to make sense of the situation. I had never been informed of any lockdown drills at this time of year. Anxiety gnawed at my insides as I pondered whether this was a rehearsal or something more sinister. With a racing heart, I followed protocol, dimming the lights and ushering my students to the room's corners, away from any line of sight of the door and windows. In this moment of uncertainty, my limited experience offered little comfort. Minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity, and the air was punctuated by frantic banging echoing down the corridor. My heart pounded louder, its rhythmic beats in sync with the approaching chaos. The relentless pounding grew near, and I could feel the terror in my students' eyes. Then, the silence was shattered by one of my students, unable to contain their fear any longer. Their cries pierced the heavy atmosphere, carrying fear into the very air we breathed. The unsettling knocking from outside stopped briefly, and an eerie silence settled. A male voice penetrated the quietude, penetrating our sanctuary of fear. "Hey guys, I think there's someone in here," he declared, each word sending a fresh wave of dread through my veins. The realization hit me like a freight train. This was no drill. More footsteps drew closer to our haven, and desperate attempts to breach the door grew frantic. In that desperate moment, my students clung to one another, their eyes wide with terror. I was ill prepared for this harrowing ordeal, lacking the training to guide us through such horrors. Suddenly, 2 loud gunshots pierced the air, but they didn't come from the intruders. The police had arrived, discharging their weapons desperately to protect us. The intruders fled into the darkness of the university corridors. It felt like an eternity before we finally received the long-awaited all-clear signal. It later transpired that the intruders were university students, their motives shrouded in mystery. When pressed for answers, they remained enigmatic, offering vague explanations and denying any sinister intent. Fast forward 2 years, and I'm still teaching at the same university in the same classroom. Yet the bullet holes from that horrifying incident remain etched into the university's walls, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk even in the hallowed halls of higher education. It happened on the eve of my graduation during my university days when life should have been celebratory and carefree. The university tradition was to organize a massive party on campus for the graduating class, and my friends and I were eagerly looking forward to it. We were all thrilled, except for me, who had been nursing a nagging flu that day. As the festivities began, I found myself feeling increasingly unwell. Deciding to break from the loud music and crowds, I retreated to my empty classroom, hoping to rest and recover. The room was eerily quiet, starkly contrasting with the lively party outside its walls. As I lay there struggling to rest, footsteps approaching the classroom grew louder. At first I assumed it was another partygoer seeking solitude. However, an unsettling feeling washed over me when the footsteps abruptly stopped outside the door. The door creaked open slowly, and a tall, shadowy figure entered. Panic gripped me as I realized this person was not part of the celebration. He held a backpack in one hand, and in the other, something gleamed menacingly. My heart pounded as he locked the door behind him, and he turned to face me. The stranger's face was obscured by a mask, leaving only his eyes visible, cold and unfeeling. He pointed the gleaming object at me, in a chillingly calm tone, uttered, "You're coming with me." Fear surged through my veins as I struggled to comprehend the situation. The masked intruder had a gun, and he intended to take me away from the supposed safety of the classroom. A loud siren pierced the air just as he reached for my arm. The university's emergency lockdown alarm blared, an intruder froze. Panic washed over his masked face as he realized the implications of the warning. He turned and fled the room without a word, leaving me trembling with terror. As the minutes ticked by, I remained hidden in the classroom, my heart racing. The siren continued to wail, mingling with distant shouts and frantic footsteps echoing down the corridor. When the all-clear signal finally sounded, I emerged shaken and unharmed. Later I learned that the masked intruder had been spotted prowling around campus, with reports of a suspicious intruder leading to the lockdown. The true intentions of the menacing figure remained a mystery, but I couldn't help but feel that I had narrowly escaped a horrifying fate. The graduation party had transformed into a nightmarish ordeal, forever etched into my memory as a stark reminder that danger could lurk even in the most unexpected places.